Remember the Girl Scout purses that I posted the picture of a while back? I made these for my nieces and I wasn't too pleased. The first set, I should have made this section maybe an inch shorter and this section an inch longer, because when you open them, there's not a lot of room, but they're just 5 and 7, so it'll be all right. But I'm one of those ants that I'll make the next thing, which was these. These have little pockets so they can put stuff on the outside, and then there's the zippers. And when we do them, they're fully lined because of the way we make the material. You can buy material at the store that is quilted, and you're going to end up pretty plain. I haven't seen, there are a few, I have seen a few with flowers, but rarely. And most of the ones I have are plain white or blue or red. So you can make your own very easily using our Destiny and our Dream Machine. And if you haven't seen the picture and you're not a member of the Facebook group, our Facebook group is Brother Dream Machine, 2 words, and the and sign, Baby Lock, which is 2 words, Destiny. And if you're watching this on Facebook and you're not signed up on YouTube, my YouTube username is Cindy, C-I-N-D-I, Crafter, for sewing, Cindy Crafter. So subscribe there, and that way there, if you miss it, it's easier to find what you want on YouTube. I used to just post to the Facebook group, so there's more videos there than there are on the YouTube. But from now on, I will post everything to YouTube. It's just a lot easier to title and easily choose videos for you if I use YouTube, and for myself too. So if you're not on YouTube, go to Cindy Crafter and subscribe. And if you're not on the Facebook, go to the Brother Dream Machine and Baby Lock Destiny page and join us there. There are a couple of questions you need to answer, and it's just so that I know that you're on the up and up and wanting to join the group. It's really not that I care that much for the answers. It just shows that you've taken the time, so it's easier for me to accept you into the group. So these are the purses that I've been working on, and they're very easy. I made the quilted fabric, which I'll discuss in a second, and then I made handles. And I'm not happy with how large these are. This one's a little too large. This one's a little smaller, about the size I really want. So I'll pull this back out, wrong side out, and I'll just cut off what I don't like and put a new seam. I did these on the serger, and that's why I'm sitting here in my eat-in area of my kitchen, is because I wanted to bring my serger and my Bernina out here where it's easier for me and to access. I'm sorry, I can't move stuff as easily as I can in my sewing room. But the other thing that you can do if you don't want to make quilted fabric is you could buy the placemats. Have you seen these all over YouTube? Well, I think people were jumping on it, the bandwagon for them, because A, they're already done. They have binding. If you want to do the pocket on the bag, this is already bound, so we're just going to cut it and use this part, then cut off the edges and use the rest for the body of the bag. And they're very luxe feeling. It's a very high quality cotton, I believe. That sizing may go away when they're washed. We're not really going to wash the bags that often, I don't think, so the feel will stay there. But what the difference is, and what you're thinking feels so nice for the most part, is they have what is called headliner or flex foam that is instead of batting. So it's a much nicer, it's like a poofy feel. It's really nice. It's very luxe feeling. So my thing with these are, I don't want to, there's hundreds of people posting pictures of the bags they made using the placemats. Well, I don't want every single bag that I have to look like these placemats, although I think they're very pretty. This is the other one that I have, and I have some with flamingo coming, but I don't know if they're with the flex foam or the headliner. Headliner is what they use in cars, headliner. And in the day, you could buy it at Hancock's, and it was on, like, some of them were 60 wide, 90 wide, and 120 wide, very inexpensively. Now, unfortunately, Hancock's is gone, so this one I bought on at an event, and it's fusible on one side. They make double-sided fusible, which would be really great if you don't have the in the hoop like we do with our Innovis machines, the Dream Machine, Destiny. Plus, we also can do it. You can do it on this machine. This is mechanical only. You could make quilted fabric. Did it years ago. It's not hard. What you do, let's discuss doing it on the old-fashioned machine, the all-mechanical machine, the sewing machine only. What you would do is take 2 layers of fabric. You'd put 1 layer down with the right side up. Then you would put 1 layer of the flex foam or basil. I think that's how they say it. If they say it differently, I don't need to know. That's fine. This is the flex foam at Joann's, so you can see the edge. It's $9.99 a yard, and I'm thinking this is 20 inches wide by 10 yards if you buy the whole bolt. It's really smart. I see these all the time in there, and they're wrapped in plastic. So if you want the whole bolt, it would be 10 yards, $99.99. So $100 even, let's say. Use your 60% off coupon, which would bring it down to $40. And if they do have the 20 or 25% off coupon for your entire purchase, and it includes sale items, then you can take 20 or 25% off the 40%. So 20% off of that would be another $8. So then you're going to get it for $32. It's expensive, but then 32 divided by 10 yards is $3.20. Loved math when I was in school. So we have that. Headliner, you might also look on online, do a Google search, and if you can still find it in the large lengths, it was very inexpensive, because this one in the package, now you saw that one's 20 inches. This was 36, so it's 1 yard by 58. And I'm thinking this was $30, but it's fusible on one side. I can make that fusible on one side also, so I'm not so concerned with buying it as fusible. I can make it fusible. Okay, so if you do not have a Dream Machine, Destiny, or any embroidery machine capability, what you would do is one side of fabric down, that's the pretty side of the fabric down, 1 layer of the flex foam. If you don't want to use flex foam, use Warm and Natural, use some type of battings. You need some texture to it and thickness. And then right side up would be your top fabric. So then you take your square or rectangle and draw a line with erasable pen or air soluble and go from one corner to the other. Then you'll sew that line, then go, these are like 1/2 inch, and sew your next line, and just every 1/2 inch. Then turn it sideways, draw a line from here. You don't have to draw every line unless you want to. I don't even draw. I just go from corner to corner, and then go the opposite way. And once you're done, you'll have the little diamonds, just like you can buy. Now, if you do it using the patterns that we make ourselves in the hoop, you can do the circles. I love the circles. And you can do any size you want. I made most of these in the 9.5 by 14, and the 8 by 12 and 7 by 12 and 6 by 10 are perfect. If you don't have that capability, the 5 by 7 would work. Your purse, you could have it 5 inches wide, 7 inches tall, or vice versa. The other thing that you could do is, if you have 4 by 4, you could put 2 of them side by side and stitch them with a zigzag, then or a decorative stitch. And then I'd probably do an easy zigzag tacking them together. Then I would do that binding on top like I did in the last video so that you could make them wide enough. Or you could do 2 small sections on each side of the 4x4. Come up with ideas. Make the center decorative fabric and do the sides plain. You know, you are not limited. You are your own limitation if you're limiting yourself. Okay, so to make your, I'm sorry I'm saying so much tonight. To make your straps, what you're going to want to do, these straps that I'm working on for the one pot placemat are yellow, and I cut it 5 inches wide. So it's not too wide when I'm done. 6 inches would have been nice too. What you do is you take the fabric when it's cut straight across the width of the fabric, so it'd probably be 42 or 44 inches, iron it in half, and that all the way down, and that gives you a mark. Then you turn in each side to that center, and then after you iron it all the way down, and see, I'm not perfect, there's some messed up there, nobody's going to see it. Then iron it in half, and you have that mark that you did, so you know perfect center, and then just press it again. Then take it over to your machine and just do a top stitching on either side. You definitely need to put it on this side because it's open, so go down and top stitch, you know, 1/8 of an inch away. And to make it pretty in unison, go ahead and do it on the other side. Now, if you want some stability in here, take your leftover strips of batting or your leftover strips of the flex foam. I'm going to call it flex foam because I call it headliner all the time. Take that and cut it, measure right here. And these, I have tons of these scraps. So you take them, if they're not very long, cut them straight, butt them up next to each other, zigzag a little bit, or fuse them together. Come up with a way to put them together. Then before you fold it to the center, lay this down, and you could tack it down with some of the double-sided tape. And then fold it over and fold it again before you sew and iron it. Then sew like we were going to do, and it'll be a firmer purse strap. Got me there? That's a good idea. And I'm not doing that. These are just for kids. It's not a big deal. Okay, I'm going to shut this off, sew this, then start up, and I can split it together. Now I've got it to where you can mostly see the serger. And I think you can still see the sewing machine over here. What I'm doing now is the zipper. I just took the zipper out of this packet, and when you take the zipper out, it will have a fold in it. So I do iron it, and then I just check it to make sure that I didn't melt the nylon part of the zipper. Another zipper that I have, and I've used quite a bit lately, these were from Wowak, and I believe that they're more for a coat, a vest, a fancy dress, I don't know. But they were cheap, buy 2, get 1 free. And they have metal pulls and metal on the end, so they're much heavier and wider teeth. These are inexpensive, they're 14-inch. Now you'll need a zipper that's longer than your project. They don't have to be 14 inches, but they just need to be wider than your project. And then you could have a 36-inch zipper, that's fine. But you do not want metal. You don't want a metal zipper. You want polyester. And these are size 14-inch, and they're Z04. I bought a ton of these when Hancock's went out of on sale. One thing you could do is you could take your zipper and you could take your double-sided tape, this one's fusible, and you could run it along the top edge. So where your zipper pull, this is the top side of your zipper. You could run the fusible zipper tape, you'd have to cut it a little bit, you buy the 1/4 inch. This is 1/2 inch, but if you had the 1/4 inch, you could run it And you don't really have to iron it if you don't want to, because it's double-sided, it makes it sticky. You could run it along the edge of the zipper tape, and then when you put your material, you could go ahead and iron it or just stick it together, and it helps hold it. I don't do that, it's not necessary, but you could do that, and then you could just use your regular sewing machine. I'm using the Serger because it's quick and easy. So this is, I want to do the one with the placemat, so let me grab it because I want to make it with all the layers. First thing I do is I decide which side of the fabric I want on top to be the front of my bag, and I make sure my back is cut a little larger than the finished size of the purse. And the front is cut, it's pretty much the same size, and it can be smaller, like this one's a little smaller all around, that's fine. But it can be the same size, but I know that I want my purse smaller than this anyway. But then from the front, I cut off 2.5 to 3 inches for the top. And I'm going to make this top this color. And I'm going to make the bottom section of the purse this color. So this is the first piece that I'm going to put the zipper on. Where did I put the red zipper? Oh, in my lap. It's always in my lap. One thing that I do after I thread my serger, and I really don't have to so much on this one, but I run a scrap. I save every scrap. And I double them over and I run it through and test to make sure that I do it on even my sewing machine. I just test my stitches, then I throw those away. I'll use it until, there's not much left, and then I'll throw that away. And so I take my zipper, make sure it's fine. I like the red zipper for this fabric. And first thing is, you're going to take the zipper tab and turn it upside down. And when I turn it upside down, I want the top of the zipper to be on the edge of my fabric, and I want to make sure that I have zipper on either side because I don't want to put this under my foot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit, and it doesn't matter because this is going to go bye-bye anyway, so it doesn't matter how close in I cut it or how far away, but that way there, when I set it under my pressure foot, then my teeth and my needles will be in here, and it will cut some of this fabric away. So I'll set that so that the zipper is down and the upper section of the zipper is meeting the equal distance here to the fabric. I will set my cutting where I just cut, and I will set that so that I know that the teeth, there's little marks, and they're raised marks, and I can see where the teeth are. They're right alongside this second mark. So I will just hold this zipper steady, get the foot pedal, and I'll start stitching. And I just don't want to sew into the zipper teeth. So I just want to keep my eye on it and make sure that I'm not too far away, but I'm not right on top of those teeth. Now, when I look at it, if I'm too far away, I'll just put it back under and sew it again. I'm a perfectionist in some things in life, but other things can be fixed. I do have a cutter on the side of my machine, but I tend to use scissors a lot. So then I'll look. And what you're going to want to do is I'm hoping that I think you can see it. I'm always looking at my iPad because my iPad shows me what my GoPro is doing. Okay, so then I'm going to press this towards the back of the fabric and the zipper up. And sometimes you'll be a little far away, but I'm not. I'm pretty even because I was paying attention. I'm going to press it so that this lays flat on the back. Give it a quick press. I'm going to have to take a break shortly and restart my video because I need to feed my husband soon. It's the weekend. Now, since my handle is yellow. I'm going to use yellow to top stitch. You do not have to do this step, but I like to top stitch. To me, it finishes my project. So go this way since there's so much fabric. Just make sure that it's laying, the seam is laying flat, and just give it a quick, wrong foot. Just give it a, always do that. Just give it a quick, hold on a second. Just give it a quick look underneath to make sure that the seam is laying flat. Okay. You don't have to backstitch because you're going to be going over these edges, making the sides of your purse. Okay. So I'm using an open toe foot, and I'm just running the side of the toe, the toe here on the foot. I'm just running that parallel to the edge of my fabric. So I usually tend to cut the little threads away just because I don't like to mess with stuff later. All right, so now we've got the zipper put in for the bottom of the bag. Then I'm going to take and put the top on. Now I want the top to be the blue fabric. So you'll take and make sure you've got the fabric going side by side, you know, across. If in this case there's a little bit on each edge, not a big deal. And this time the zipper is going to be under the foot. I still do the same thing, under the fabric, not on top. I still do the same thing where I'll cut away part of the zipper tape just so that I can set it in my machine so that it's cutting away. It's not as, you see I'm going back there to move the foot on the back because the Evolution has the foot on the back of the machine. Okay, so when you cut that little cutout, what happens is it makes it so that the needles line up where the cutout is, and that way there you can get your fabric closer to the knife so it cuts away part of the fabric. I know where the zipper pull is. I can look, I could take this off and I can see the zipper pull. The zipper teeth are running right next to the second mark on my foot, which is great. Line this all up and then just stitch. I need to get that under there. Just stitch and cut away part of it and just keep it so that it's equal, all, you know, not wavy or puffy, and then just cut part of it away. So now that I've sewn this together, what I need to do is I want the seam to face up. So I'm going to take it over here and give it a quick press, and I want it to face towards the fabric, not towards the zipper. Give it, and I like to use steam. Then take it to the sewing machine and top stitch just like we did. Okay, so if I'm smart, I will hold the thread tail before I start sewing. And then I'm just running the same way. I've got the edge of my foot running along the edge of the fabric. I'm just top stitching. Okay, now cut my thread tail longer. If you cut it using your machine, that's usually long enough. So, where's my other scissors? I do not use my good scissors to do this. Now that I've got the two pieces sewn, I'm going to take the scissors and cut away. See, I'm off. There's about 1/4 of an inch difference from the edge here. This one's lined up pretty well. That's just because when I was cutting this, I wasn't perfect. That's no big deal. All right, now I've got those two things ready. I'm going to put a pocket on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the pocket so that it is where I want it. I don't want, no, I guess I do. I'm going to put it right here so that it lines up pretty much. And I'm just going to give it a, you don't have to, I didn't do this, but since I'm talking and doing stuff, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it just a quick seam to hold it together. And it's going to get cut away with the serger anyway. And then the other side. I better go this way because it's just giving it a quick tack. This isn't going to show, it's going to be cut away, it's no big deal. Okay, so it's tacked down now. I'm going to need what I just dropped. Let me grab it. There we go. So, this is the width, this strap is the width of my fabric. Now, I showed you when we first started how I folded it in half and ironed each side to the center, then folded it in half, and then I went ahead and top stitched both sides. I gave it a quick press because this was kind of puffing a little bit. I think it's, this is quilter's cotton. I don't know that that's the reason. But then you want to decide how long you want this. So these are for little girls and they'll hang pretty low. I did, after I ran my stitches, I did cut the edges off. So you could hold this, if this is for you, you could hold it and say, okay, do I want my purse that low? And take a few inches off, whatever you want to do. So you're going to want to make sure that it's like all going in the same direction. And you decide where you want it on your purse. And I'm just going to put it, and what I will do is, because I know it's for little girls, I'm going to leave it so that it extends so I see that I've got it in the right spot. And I will take a pin and I will pin this, probably be moving that in a little bit. I don't have it in the right spot because see, I got to cut away part of this. So I think I want it about there. And I know I know about how far away it is from the side. This side's more even. So make sure that when you put this, that it's laying correctly. See, it's not kinked. And then I'm going to move it over a tiny bit. That's about the same distance from here. And I'm going to put a pin. And I want the flowers to be the back. So I'm going to lay this on top. I'm going to stick the handle in the pocket. And I'm going to stick this on. Turn it over. This is where I pin. My little mind isn't working. I just want to make sure that it looks even. And I'm going to take the pin out from the top where it was holding the strap. And I'm going to take the pin out and go through all the layers. And just want it to be so that everything looks even. This is kind of crooked. So I'm going to move it and pin it. Don't want to sew over your pins. Now I will pinch this together and I will put 2 pins. Pinch it so that this closes. I know it's going to close, and I put a pin here on the bottom and on the top, and it's pinched together. If it's not perfect, it really won't, it'll have enough flexibility. When I stabbed myself with that pin, I'm not bleeding. That's great. It has enough flexibility that this will pull down and close. So I know that it's nice and tight there. I don't want to serge over this the handle. So I want to push that up in there because the pocket is open on the bottom. We could have ran a stitching line on the edge to close that. You could easily do that. Make sure that the handle does not get in any of your sides or anything. Now you see these are not even. That's fine. We're going to cut all that away. You can put a couple of pins to hold it. You can reach in here and you can pin the handle, but I'm pretty sure I've got it all out of the way. And then I'm going to pin over here, put a pin up where the zipper is. Now make sure your zipper is open at this point. If your zipper's closed, you're going to be tearing out a seam. Making sure I'm not bleeding. Now, you see how many layers of fabric we're going to go through? 1 layer, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And each of these are 2 layers of fabric and a layer of flex foam. So that's a lot of thickness. Now, what we'll do is we're just going to serge all the way around, and we're going to remove the pins before we get to them. And I just kind of make sure that it's flat, and let's just start. I think let's do the top first. I will lift my foot up. I want it to be at the cutter. Let's see how that does. I've got 2 different foot pedals down here, and I'm having a hard time. Okay, so take my pin out. Something you can do, and I have done, is you can run a few stitches across, put your handles where you want them, run a few stitches across so that they stay in place. Now, the machine's going to sound a little different at times because of all the layers, because now it's going through 6 layers of fabric, and no, 4 layers of fabric, 2 layers of flex foam, and then this is 4 layers of handles, or 4 layers. So it's going through 8 layers of fabric. No, 8 layers of fabric. Okay. Now, if I see that I've done a really wavy line or something, I can go back, I can take it to my cutting mat, and I can just make it straight and re-sew it. Don't freak out. And if you end up taking away a couple of inches, who cares? Okay, now we're going to go down the sides, and then we're going to go across the bottom. One thing I will do is when I'm this seam going across here, now I will leave a long tail so that I'm going to go in a little bit because I want to get rid of everything here. I don't want to sew over the pins. You could also go ahead and run a couple of top stitches here just to hold stuff together instead of pins. You know, some people, and I understand why, some people are scared to death to run over pins, and I understand that fully. So I took the pins out and I'm holding the zipper, and I'm kind of going slow. Okay, now here it's going to be going through, Cindy, bag girl. I'm glad I looked because the handle was stuck in there. So here I'm going through a lot of layers because I've got the pocket and the back and the front of the purse. Okay, so go straight down. I'm pretty sure that everything is out of the way up in here. Yep. Go straight down. I don't need to leave a tail on this one. On here, I'll leave the tail, and I will take my needle. I'll cut part of this tail off. I'll thread my needle through part of this, and I will put the thread through the eye and pull it, and it'll go through, and that it keeps it from coming undone. You could, and I've done this in the olden days, you could just, and I'll do it, you could just tie a knot, this on the inside of the purse. And I don't care that I am serging this. I still top stitch over my serged edges because it's a purse. So just tying an old-fashioned knot. I can still run that through though, so I'll leave my tail, but see, you could tie it and make it so that it's really close, and then just well, this is what I would do if I'm not going to use my little threader, is lay it like this and put it on my sewing machine. Oh, wrong pedal, see? And then go backwards and forwards and backwards. Now it's sewn down. Cut away the extra. And I like to top stitch anyway, so now I'm going to top stitch straight down. And that's how you can, and we don't need to do that here on the bottom one because we're going to go over it once again anyway with the serger. So you do not have to have this needle threader. You don't have to run it back through. If you just, like I just did there, you can either sew over it. I like the little knot. I always do. Right, now I'm going to peek in here and make sure that the strap is way over. Now, I could go ahead and go from this way, but I don't, because you don't want all that fabric on that side of your machine, right? So just put this under, and I do want to take part of this away. Pull out that pin. You have to be careful with pins. I would never preach to you about pinning, sewing over a pin with a sewing machine. That's your choice. On a serger, it's not a choice. If you sew over a pin, several things can happen. Sew this down. You see what I'm doing? I'm just laying this back on itself on the stitches, and I'm going to sew over it. And I'm going to sew straight down because, as I told you, I like to lock in the whole seam. Oh, wrong foot. But I'm going to sew across the bottom. All of my handles are out of the way. This is once again sewing through 6 layers of fabric and 3 layers of flex foam or headliner or Bosal. That Bosal is B-O-S-A-L. So if you say it Bosal, is what I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do, since I'm not going to run these through, is I'm going to do like I did before, lay them on top of my stitches. Ugh, come on. Lay them on top, and then I'm going to just sew, no, wrong foot. I'm not in my sewing room. And just go ahead and go over them, lock them in. So if you don't want to buy that threader, this is just as easy. Now, if you were doing this, you could do this on almost anything. I think I have in my life. But if you want it to look better, get that threader. I'm going to have to look. I'll post on the Facebook group on the Baby Lock and Dream Machine group the brand name of it. But they were not expensive. I think I got them on Amazon. So I hadn't seen them in years. I miss Clotilda. She passed away, and I guess they sold the business. I don't know if it was before she passed away that they sold it. But okay, so I'm cutting away all my tails, my thread tails, because we're done. So I'm going to open the zipper up a little bit more. So I opened it up all the way, and all you do now is turn it right side out and reach in and grab the bottom and pull it out. And then you're going to want to take some kind of poke. I don't tend to use my scissors often, but something that you can poke the corners out. I have a tool that Jenny Haskins had, so I'm thinking R&K sells it, and it's nice. It wasn't that expensive, and it's perfect for pushing out the corners. Okay, so push everything out. You want to see what I did? We all know I mess up, right? I put this on the back instead of putting it on the front. But that's okay. How am I going to fix that? Actually, I don't think I put it on the back because I think I wanted the blue, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I wanted the blue. I just had it turned out wrong. Just fooling you. I didn't do it wrong. So, push up. I'll spend more time pushing out the corners. But there's a bag. All done. All ready. Now, you could top stitch all the way around once you get your corners pushed out. But isn't that cute and so easy? And this one was made out of a placemat. Okay, let's discuss when you forget to put the handle on and you sew the whole thing together. I didn't sew the bottom, but I sewed 3 sides of it. let's discuss that. When you do that, I sewed this side, and across the top. And then I realized it was going to be a makeup bag if I didn't do this. So what I did was I took it to my rotary cutter and I whacked off the stitches. Now what I'll do is I will go in from the bottom and I'll put the straps where I want them and I'll pin it, and then I'll just sew across the top and the bottom. So it's not anything to be totally upset over if you completely close it and realize that you messed up and you didn't put your strap in. I had not sewn the bottom yet, and I realized, oh, look what I did. And that was the other day when I was having all the problems making the video. 99% of the time when I'm having issues making a video, it's my fault. But it was my camera's fault for a little bit because there was something about the update that didn't sit well. All right, I think that looks, maybe this one needs to go over a little bit. Just make sure that nobody's going to know except for you if they're not perfect. Just make sure that they're where you want them, that they're even, that this is not turned crooked. Now, something about this fabric is it's got lines on it, so I could make sure that the line lines up with the top, and that, you know, if I needed precise measurements, and then put my little pin, and then I will just sew across the top. I'll sew across the top, take out my pin. What's going to happen to this one is it's not going to be as wide at the top as it was before. Okay, leave a long thread tail. Then you're going to want to take your strap and push it all the way up. Now you see my zipper's open. This is where I need the zipper to be open because now I'm sealing it. So I go straight across the bottom, and I am going to leave thread tails because I will want to go in and bury them. See, what you would do is you take and put them in the needle, stick the needle in your stitches right here, put this in the end. I usually put the needle in first, then stick this in the needle, and you take the needle through here and pull it. So I will do that, but I'll turn it right side out and show you. This is my little Girl Scout bag that I hope is more of a favorite for them because of the colors, because they're pink. And I told my niece she can just, I'm going to send all of them to her. The girls, she goes, why do the girls need 3 bags each? I said, so that they can give one to each of their friends. So if they have 2 BFFs, if they have 1 BFF, they can keep 2 for themselves. And they can give 1 to their BFF. If they have 2 BFFs, give them to both. If not, they can have 3 bags. They're my little babies. All right, so this one, turn it out. I poke the corners out. And this one I did not put a pocket on the front. But see, very cute and easy. It looks funny because these need to be poked out. But isn't that easy and cute? Well, let me know how you liked it, and I'll start working on a few more videos. I'll talk to you soon.